Thank you so much for joining us today. My guest is a wonderful Italian professor. Let me try it. Sara Caprasecca.
Oh God, yeah.
Ciao, Professor. Thank you so much for finding time and squeezing me into your busy schedule. How are you?
Problem. It's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure.
So let's cut to the chase. And we were talking a little bit before. And I noticed your wonderful accent, your wonderful English accent, and I'm asking this question, and all the professors have their interesting answers. So, how did you master the language so perfectly well?
Ah, okay. That's an interesting question. Well, I have like two or three secrets or tips to give, like for to manage a good English. Okay, the first thing is that I really had a musical like ear. Like I was really good when I was a child to remember the songs, remember the sounds, remember like literally I was a very good listener when I was a child, and I spent hours and hours in the car with my mom while she was driving listening to music and also listening to American music. So I kind of was really good at speaking English when I was younger, like with no reason. I was just good at it. And also I didn't have probably an internet connection when I was like 9 or 10 years old. So for example, I used to listen to Spice Girls or Britney Spears or NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, but I didn't have an internet connection. So I remember that I had these cassettes with my sister, and we used to stop and try to write down the lyrics, just trying to understand the words. It was so difficult because I had no English knowledge. I used to speak and study French for all my childhood. I
Wow.
thought I was way better in French than in English, but then suddenly I was better in English than in French. So I don't know how it happened. Second thing, that I had American friends in the high school, so I could just practice a little bit more. And the third tip or suggestion, so first one, to listen to a lot of music. Second one, to have American friends. And third thing, that I used to always watch TV shows in English with subtitles,
Oh,
but subtitles in Italian, not because I wanted to cheat, but because when you watch a lot of hours TV shows in English and then you read down the subtitles, your brain little by little it connects the right word to the right way of saying some things. And then if you have a good if you are good at languages, directly it becomes, better and better. And then I was not shy. I remember a lot of friends of mine were like, I know how to speak English, but I don't want to speak English because I feel ashamed of my accent. I will not. Instead, I would say, jump, go, try to. Because if people are good, they will correct you if you're wrong with some words. They will just tell you, no, wait, your accent is not good, blah blah blah. And then I had American friends that just corrected me, and so then little by little. And
wow.
also a lot of hip hop music helps because they speak very quickly, and so if you really want to become faster in talking and you don't have no one to practice, hip hop is the best.
Wow, thanks. Thanks a lot. Basically, this is my secret too, because I was a great fan of all the bands that you have mentioned.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's just a secret.
but I was doing this with Michael Jackson's songs.
Oh
I was
wow,
talking,
yeah.
yes, and I was trying to write down the lyrics because there was no internet and there was no way to get the lyrics. And that's why when I remember the words that I thought he was singing, I'm laughing because those were completely different words.
No, well, sometimes I really pick the good words, but always the same ones. So the other ones were just like a mystery to me. And then little by little, when I discovered, like, because if you remember, not all the albums had the booklet
Yeah.
with the lyrics. So when I had the money, the pocket money to go and pick a CD, for example, for Jerry Halliwell or Spice Girls or whatever it was, and then I realized which were the lyrics, I was like, oh well, okay, I could do better than that. So, but it's a very good exercise. It's a very good
I
exercise.
I agree. Thank you so much. And you brought me to my next question. So, one of your hobbies is music. What other hobbies do you have?
Oh well, I have a lot of hobbies. Okay, the first thing I would say, just to go back to the first question, is singing. Of course, you could say that I really love singing, but like in a professional way, which is weird because no one expects that. Plus, no one takes singing as something that you can do even if you don't want to get famous. So all of my friends are like, oh, but I never heard a CD of yours, or I never heard the song. But I have songs actually, but I never published that because I don't want to do it as a job. I just like singing and I enjoy that. And I don't want to go somewhere with people listening to me. I just do it for myself. And so when people like my close friends, like every time they hear me singing in a very good way, but just not because I'm good, because I had lessons, they're like, "Oh, so you can sing?" They're like super surprised. They're like, "Yes, I've been doing that for all my life." But it's just something that people associate with being famous. And if you just like singing but not being famous, people think, Why don't you do something more?" But I'm not interested. So I like playing the guitar. I like singing, and I have two dogs and a cat. So I also like cuddling my animals, and I love a lot. I say drawing. Like I really love that.
Wow, so you
Yeah.
are a very, very creative person, right?
Mhm. Less logic, less rational, much more creative.
And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, you are a professor in the MBA program. So how did you
How
basically
did that
end
that
up
did
here?
happen? Well, I think that okay, this happened for two reasons. Okay, so I was attending this the very first time. First of all, it's just a coincidence because I've been doing private lessons to children all my life. I remember that when I was in high school, I wanted to be independent. I wanted to have my money. When I went to the university, my mother was like, we didn't have like a lot of money, so she told me, you want to go to the university? Go and find a job. So I had to give all these private lessons, also for English lessons to a lot of children of different ages. So it was really practical, like super useful for me to create different ways to teach. So with colors, with blackboards, I remember singing songs with them to remember rules of mathematics or English. Or for example, I remember that I used to teach English verbs with songs. So like for example, yeah, or does, do, or with the songs. And so I kind of basically was used to teach. And then in 2017, I was doing this master in Milan. And I had my friend who was teaching, one of my dearest friend, Gerardo, that probably would see this interview. Ciao, Gerardo. And he was like, "Oh, you know that I'm teaching in a school, but I'm teaching digital marketing, and you're so good with social media. I saw your Facebook, I saw your Twitter. You're so funny, and you really can communicate very well. But in the other hand, I don't have spare time to teach anymore because he was launching this startup and it was such a huge thing. He was so busy all day. He was on the computer. So he said, "Hey, would you substitute me once?" And I was like, "Mom, I'm not sure I will be able to do that." And then 4 years later, it, and it's because I've always done that when I was younger. So basically, I had that in my blood somehow. And also because maybe you saw some lectures of mine and they are kind of creative. I try to show videos and colors and stuff. So
Okay, I wanted to mention it after you finished that we loved your lecture and
ah,
yeah, digital marketing basically. It was
yeah, because it's so funny to teach digital marketing. It's like someone pays you to be on Instagram. It's like I'm paid to do what I love to do. So like I have the best job in the world. And also,
I can't agree more.
yeah, it's so funny because I have to teach something that is really so powerful and that connects people all over the world and that, connects you to your favorite singers or artists or companies. And it's like, I don't know, I have the dream job, I guess. So I'm happy.
Thank you
Better
so
than
much.
singing, better than singing.
Okay, so you kind of answered one more question that I had about pets. So you love pets and you have three pets, right?
Yeah.
Any other pets that you used to have or you're planning to get?
Well, I have more plans in having pets than in having babies or family. And that's worrying my mother. And she's like, "So what about your becoming a mom?" And I'm like, that I have a new dog named Hugo and he's so cute. He's white, blah, blah, blah. So my mother is so worried for me. But I really enjoy having pets because I am a freelancer. So I spend a lot of hours at home
Mm.
in my garden, like preparing the lectures or stuff. I don't know. It just, okay. First thing I would like to tell you is that do you know we have a saint here in Italy, San Francisco? San Francisco. He's like the saint of animals and nature. And I feel like in like every time I find a dog in the street, like all my life I've been finding dogs in the streets, and all my friends are like, "How come that you've got one, two, three, four dogs, five dogs that you found in the street? I never noticed the dogs in the street. I like I don't know they come to me." So I remember having one dog that I found, two dogs that I found. The third one I gave it to one of my best friends, whole beautiful dogs, and I don't know, they come to me. So, but this last one that I got this year, Ugo, is the white one, the puppet. I like the puppet because it's so small. He was found in the countryside by my cousin. She's working in a dog shelter as well, so like it's in our blood. And she told me it was August, I guess, so it was really a bad period because here in Italy, a lot of people abandon dogs during summer days because they want to go on holiday. And it's such a bad thing. So my cousin found these dogs, these little white dogs in the countryside, and she was like, "I'm so worried because they're like 7. How am I to deal with this?" But and she sent me pictures of this ugly little dog that no one wanted in all the family. And I was like, "No, give me the ugly one." No, he's beautiful. I'm gonna show it to you. So anyway, and then I mean, okay, I have to stop because I am living in an apartment, and I am it's not my apartment. I rented it, and so I'm like worried that sometime someone will tell to the landlord like, yeah, but she got two dogs and a cat. Isn't it too much for a city? And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stop. but
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 who knows?
no, like yeah, I mean they are so. If you live alone like me and you're like working a lot of time at home, it's cute because you take care of an animal that could die. I mean they're not the best. They bark a lot. They smell. I have to clean all day. It's not that it's like having 10 children. It's so tiring, but at the same time they're so funny. So even if you're sad, you had a very bad day, then they make you laugh because they're funny and they do funny things. And
Yes, yes, I know.
yeah,
I saw the photo on Facebook. I
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're so cute.
I always
I decided
I
to
al-
ask you because I know that you how much you love the dogs. Just,
yeah, this is Ugo like playing with a plant or something. He took something from the garden. I don't know how it happened. Like I was working and he was so silent and sleeping, and then I just stir and I see that he took something from the garden, and I'm like, where did you get that? So they're
that's
funny.
cute.
They're
Yeah,
really
I
funny.
know.
In fact, when someone tell me like I don't like dogs, I don't like animals, I'm like, I don't trust you anymore. Like if you don't like
Yeah.
dogs, there's something wrong. Like I understand cats because cats are difficult, so I
Mm.
understand. People are like, no, I'm afraid that they're gonna
Yeah, scratch.
hit me or
Scratch.
yeah,
Yeah.
touch me. So I'm like, that's true. Also because when I was a child, I used to spend a lot of time in the countryside in my father's house, and there were a lot of like wild cats,
Mm.
and also when they are little, they used to scratch you. It's not very easy to deal with cats. But when someone tells me that they don't like dogs, I'm like, how can it be? Like the sweetest creature on earth is dogs. So they're so sometimes they're a little dumb. Like they do everything you do, they do everything you say, and if you scream at them, they just will stop doing what they do. So it's a super super. I really trusted in this moment, this historical moment with the COVID. The people that had dogs in their houses were lucky because they had the chance to go out. They had the chance to having company all day. It's a plus in everyone's life.
Yeah, and having animals is really even more difficult than having children because children eventually they grow up and they stop
Yeah,
so dependent on you. But having an animal at home is always a huge responsibility, and that's why I know I have many friends who have dogs and cats, and like they tell me, Kasi, it's just like something in the karma. We keep finding like kittens, small like puppies, and it's really karma.
yeah.
I never noticed any kind of dogs and kittens unattended.
Friend of mine, one friend of mine told me, and even if I see dogs in the street, I would just say hi and go away. And then I was like, no, you have to stop and help them. Also, because you don't know, maybe someone lost their dog. So I always step by and check if they have like a telephone number or something because you never know. But I think it's just everyone makes his choices, and I always tend to stop. It's like if I see a child alone in the street, I'm like worried. Is this child okay, or did he get lost? And that's the same with dogs. So
Mm.
you know,
You, thank you so much for this answer. You're really something,
that was not very interesting. It's just my free time. It's
why it's really, the point of this talk is just to have something outside the teaching process, okay? So uh, let's get back to like your hobbies. Do you like traveling and do you travel a lot? Do you have much opportunity? Did you have? Because right now nobody can travel, but have you traveled a lot?
okay. Well, it depends from the parameter. So for some of my friends, I am a bad traveler because they've been to China or to the United States, and then they've been to Pole North and Africa. I have some adventurous friends, and I'm like zero if I compare myself to them. But I have other friends that are living like in a more calm and peaceful lifestyle, which think that I am a super traveler because I've been twice to London, twice to Warsaw, twice to Paris, or I've been to Hong Kong for my job, in my previous job. I've been to India for my previous job. But I would say that I'm a bad traveler because wherever I go, I tend to settle a lot on the place I am. So, for example, unless I stay for a month, I'm not so curious to go and visit all the museums or the. I'm like, it's the thing that I like being in a place and just stay in a coffee, read a magazine, watch how the people lives their life in that place. It's like I'm more an observer
Mm.
than an adventurer. So that makes me feel like a bad traveler, like I'm not the one that goes everywhere and walks for days. I like to see how people live in other places,
Mm.
like what's the weather like, how do they behave, because Italian culture is so passionate. We talk to each other, we talk a lot. If you go to the train, it's so noisy. Everybody's talking on the phone or playing. And instead, then you go and travel and you figure out that in other places in Europe, for example, if you go on a train and talk a lot, like I'm doing now with you, which I could do on the phone, everyone would just stare at you like, why are you so noisy? For example, last year I've been to the Netherlands. No, it was on 2019, 2019, and there were these different wagons in the train. So the wagon for who wants to talk, and the wagon for who doesn't want to talk. And I
Okay.
thought, this is so smart. Like, yeah, so if you want to sleep, you're able to sleep. So yeah, that's the things that I like in traveling, not the adventure, but see the differences and see how smart things happen in other countries.
Mm.
So I would like to travel more. I would really like to go back to Asia, but I'm maybe too lazy to go. And, I'm not the kind of person that tells you, calls you and tell you, oh, this year I really want to go to Maldives. I really want to go to Caribbean. I got friends that do that. I'm just not.
Not your thing.
No, like probably I would go somewhere in the world if I had the money, the time, and everything. I would go somewhere and just keep on working from that position.
Mm.
I'm more like a worker, a traveler worker. So I prefer to switch my life in another place and start living my. But I do the things that I do every day. It's not that I just switch off my job and then start going on volcanoes or museums. So it's just that it's not so much in my veins.
I
And
see.
so,
So would you be able to live in any other place other than Italy?
yeah, I mean, I really, really love the north of Europe. So all the cities that I mentioned, London, Warsaw, Paris, the Netherlands. I don't like the very noisy places in Netherlands like Amsterdam because they're very touristic, like here, like Rome.
Mm.
So I feel like okay, it's the same as Rome, but I like the way. But it's just because some cities in the north of Europe are more cleaner, and calmer, and I really enjoy that. I especially love the Dutch culture, and I mean, maybe it's too much, but I have friends that have been living there, and they've been telling me, how can you say that after 2 years being in the Netherlands, you just, it feels like all the same. Instead, in Italy, everything is so colorful and very different from area to area. And I'm like, maybe you don't know until you do it, you know? So probably if I will never go and live in, let's say in Berlin, after 2 years, I will probably come back here because every Italian person that that became an expat, everyone tells me, no, 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 you're coming back after a couple of years. But that's the truth. It's because I think that every one of us, like, it doesn't matter where you live, but everywhere you live, you tend to desire other locations, other places.
Mm.
And then after a while, you start to see the weaknesses of the place, and then you want to go back home because
Of course,
you're
every country has its own routine, its own,
yeah,
yeah, like daily life, and it gets boring with time, yeah, and you lose this vibe of wow. For example, my sister, when she moved to Cyprus, everybody used to tell me, wow, she lives in Cyprus, but she's like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I would love
yeah,
to come back home and stay like with her family
yeah.
here in Dallas. Okay, but
Because you have all your traditions or all of the things that you take for granted. For example, I take for granted a lot the weather in Italy, and every friend I have that lives abroad, or all the friends that I know that are not Italian, tell me, don't take that for granted because it's not very cold, it's not very hot, it's in a good temperature. You have the sea, but you also have the mountains, and you are in the middle of Europe, and you have connections with airport. It's very easy.
and the culture, wow, the
The
culture that you have,
culture.
wow.
Yeah, if you want some innovation, you go to the north of Italy and have a lot of companies and innovative stuff. If you want some more culture, more traditional stuff, you have a lot of history. So I'm like, there's no other place like that. So I'm not sure I will leave. But you know, whenever you travel and you are Italian, I mean, I live in a very messy place. Rome is very noisy and dirty and messy. It's like, I don't know, probably I would perceive it like New York, but smaller and more colorful
Mm.
and less rich. But it's just so stressful. So I guess this is my opinion because whenever I go to travel in peaceful places, I'm like, oh, I would like Rome to be like that. So a little bit more clean and calm, and it's everything is a little messy. We love entropy. We love entropy. We love this mix of things, and sometimes it's tiring.
I understand you. You have to come to Belarus, and maybe you will like it here because we are not noisy. We are clean.
Perfect.
We
Yeah,
are.
I saw a lot of pictures on the internet, and yeah, I really thought, wow. I mean, that is a part of the world that really is underrated, I guess.
Well, maybe, but uh,
Mm,
I don't know. We also have some downsides of this lifestyle.
of
You
course.
know, like there is no life up to 9 p.m. and tourists like, come on, guys. No,
Yeah,
I mean, not the life is not that active. Let's put it like this. So we are running out of time, and I still have so many questions to
we will
ask.
cut. We will cut. We will cut. Don't worry.
No, no, no. I want to. I know that you have to leave. That's why.
Yeah, at the moment, it looks like my host, like the person I have to meet, is slightly late. So until he doesn't call me,
Excellent.
it's
Excellent.
good.
I'm lucky. So my question is, could you name three achievements that you consider to be the biggest in your life?
The one that I want to achieve, or the one that I have
No, the ones that you have already achieved.
already achieved. I think it was my graduation. I have graduated in Italian literature, so I could be an Italian, like Italian literature teacher probably.
Well,
But it was very difficult to me. Like I come from a kind of messy family. Like we had some issues while I was younger, because my father suddenly passed away when I was 5 and my sister was 7. And so kind of it was kind of weird because my grandmother and my father, that were the only two people working in the family, passed away in like 1 year after the other. And so my mother really had to struggle because she was kind of suddenly alone with two children. So we had to, I really grew up working and working and working and working. But the problem was not the condition of the family itself, or like, of course, we had friends supporting us, other part of the family, members of the family, aunts, uncles. So we were not alone basically. But the big issue was that when I went to until I went to high school, I was a super worker, super good grades. I was studying at night. I was really really strong. When I went to university, okay, I don't know the other universities, but Italian universities are like, you have to spend all day at a university. You really need to go to lesson. It's not because you have to sign and be there because they are taking the presence of the students, but it's because when you are a worker and you go to university, you're kind of an outsider. So you don't understand very well where are the rooms of the professors. The professors don't know your face. Your grades are lower than the ones of your friends. So I had these friends at the university, but they, for example, they used to get lunch together, be together, study together, and I always was like, okay, I need to get to work. I need to go to work. I need to go to work. And this was a big problem for me. Like I remember thinking a lot of times, no, I'm just going to quit it because it's not my thing. But it was not actually that it was not my thing. It was not my thing because I was working, so it was really difficult. And also, I had all these exams of Italian literatures that were so difficult. Like you have to, like we have a lot of authors in Italy since the before the medieval age, so you have to remember everything. History exams, art exam. It was so tough. And so what happened was that when I decided to not to quit, when was everyone else was telling me to quit. So suddenly my mother's like at the 7th year of university, she started like, do you think it's your place to be? Do you think you want to go ahead? And then at my work, I used to go at work with books because when I didn't have to work, I was studying. And all my colleagues started, but you're too old for university, it's not gonna worth it. And you're investing a lot of money in taxes and then you cannot go to exams. Everyone was kind of minding my own business. And that's what I really felt the challenge. I say, guys, I'm going to graduate, you'll see. And so I took 1 year uh, without working. I took a whole year and I gave all the exams last, and then I graduated. And when I graduated, I really was like, you see,
I nailed it.
it's
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow, that's a great story. Really.
yeah. I mean, I would never shut someone down. I would never say to someone, okay, never say never, but I think I never said in my life to someone, quit the things you're doing, because I think it doesn't mean if it takes you longer than the others that you're not good at it. And in fact, I love literature basically, so I'm happy that I graduated for that. So um,
This is one. Two more.
two more. Two other achievements. Okay, the first one was the graduation. Okay, let me think. This is difficult. Okay, the second one, yeah, I'm sorry because it's always didactic stuff. But also when I won the scholarship to my master's degree in Milan, because there were like 1,876 people for the scholarship, and I was in second place.
Wow.
And that was I
What did it take you to get to this second place?
Well, it was the moment when I have just graduated, and that was my free year. So I was not working. I would say, okay, I'm gonna survive with my saving, and I'm going to graduate and find a job. But then, as you can imagine, in Italy, if you study literature, there are zero possibilities to get a job unless you want to become a teacher or a journalist. So what I did was, okay, let me apply to some jobs plus scholarships. So let me see if my life will take me to study again or to work. And then it's crazy because I started to apply to everything. Like I also was picked for a job in Czech Republic in Brno, So at a certain point, I had too many choices. So I was both for the master in Milan in innovation technologies, and then for this work in Brno in a customer service. And so I was like, no, I think that I need to eat like bread and oil for another 6 months and study more, because if my life is going ahead in this way, it means that I have to study more. And so I had a scholarship. I went to live in Milan. I think it's not that I couch surfed, because I was always on the sofa with a friend. But I don't know if you see BoJack Horseman. I feel like the forever host, the one that is always on the sofa and having food from your fridge. I'm so sorry, and I take this interview to thank my friend Martina that really let me do this. But it was worth it, because after I had this degree, this extra degree, it was like my CV suddenly became more interesting to people. Oh, you're studying innovation. That's so cool. And I was never really a nerd, but suddenly everyone perceived me as a nerd. So I say always, I was kind of justifying it, saying, no, 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 I'm not a nerd. I just have this degree in innovation, when you feel like guilty because, but everyone appreciated that. And so it was easier for me to start studying technology and putting that together with digital marketing technique to teach that to the students. It was kind of a moment where all the dots were like connected finally, and that was the second big, big, big achievement. Third achievement, first graduation, second degree. The third achievement, of course, as many, many other people, when I went to live alone, because after all these years of stress, and I could never afford the whole house for myself. So I used to live with my mother or with friends all the time. And so I think that the very first time that I enter my house and I said, this is rent only for me, like I would be the only one in the whole house. And it's like when you got your first car, it's like I felt like, yes, I can buy all the furnitures that I like, and I can go to the toilet and leave the door open and no one will ever notice. Like it was such a good thing to me, like because it was the first time I was so independent, and also growing up with my sister and mother in a very small house. It was always, and the dog. It was
Mm.
always very messy. I didn't have the privacy. And then I switched to my co how can I say it, the roommates. And also the roommates were very noisy. And so now I really enjoy staying all day like this with the dog in the garden. So zen, because that was the first time I was doing that. So it's like I know that for someone could be something very, you know, that everyone does, but to me it was a very big achievement. Like I was like, oh, this is my house. I'm paying for this. Like,
Wow, you are really an inspiration. You are a true self-starter who didn't have this, help and support from the family, and you really had to struggle. And where
yeah,
you are now is impressive. Honestly.
yes, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. In fact, I'm so grateful. I never take for granted what I have. Like, I don't want to say that I say good morning to my washing machine every morning, but I'm quite there. Like, I'm really grateful person. Like, I appreciate everything I have, because I remember all the calories burned to get to somewhere. So I'm always like, yeah, I will not take that for granted. And it's, I mean, I could have another path. I could have get married with someone who already had a house, or I could have an extra house from my family. It just went the way it was. It was not very difficult, and it was not easy, easy, easy. It was kind of in the middle. But when you do everything on your own for any reason, it's good.
Oh, I can't agree more. Thank you so much for your honesty. I enjoy, really, I'm enjoying every word.
Thank you.
So,
No, I mean, and maybe I'm too honest. I'm sorry, because I really am this way. So
but this is what I was looking for. Come on.
no, because
You're giving me exactly what I need. Thank
yeah,
you.
because someone could think like, yeah, come on, teacher, we don't care about your house or your dog, but it's like the small things in life that makes you happy.
To tell you the truth, most of the students do care about such stuff.
Really, you see, because they say, oh, come on, how did you get there? How do you? Yeah, they treat you sometimes like you are Elon Musk or
Yes,
Steve Jobs, and they're like, I am a teacher.
yes.
Come down, you're gonna get there. So, and I know that when you're studying, the small things look so difficult. Today, I had a phone call with one of my dearest friend, and she was crying on the phone because she is about to graduate in law, which in Italy is very very difficult
Mm.
because we have like 5 years, then you have to do another 2 years of university to practice as a lawyer, and then there is another exam, and in Italy we have this very strong tradition with
Mm.
ancient law, so it's very so difficult. And she was crying on the phone, and I said, I will never say to you, oh come on, it shall pass. It's just university. I did it. You're gonna figure it out. I understand that when you're there, and that's the suggestion to the students that would see the interview. Don't feel dumb if you are crying for an exam or if you're worried for an assignment or something that you have to achieve for your because this is like taking care of yourself. If you do care, if you are worried, it means that you are doing the right thing for yourself and you do care about yourself. So it's like, would you eat unconsciously whatever you want to eat without minding your health? You will not. Would you, I don't know, treat yourself in a bad way? You should not. So I think that worrying about these things when you're a student means that you have a good care of yourself and you care about your work and your studying and this is something that you will thank yourself some years later. But
Mm.
I really was, yeah, I really think that if I could go back time, I really am thanking my younger self for what I've been doing because it's a lot of stress and problems and worries and stuff. Imagine how many times a student can see a friend who has a father helping them doing something, and that will never happen to me. Like, of course, I had my mother and my sister helping me, but for example, for some things, I didn't have the male support, let's say,
Mm.
and that was difficult. And I mean, so just let's accept uh, and say thank you. Let's accept what happened to us, but also say thanks to our younger self for everything they've done for us, because I feel really that probably when you're there in that moment, you don't thank yourself enough when you're doing a lot of things.
Wow,
Mm.
you somehow managed to anticipate my question to address our students with some inspirational, motivational words. So you found them. Thank you so much. And like my last question to you, and we will call it a day. I will release you to your next meeting. What is your dream?
My dream
Yeah.
in life,
Yes.
what is my dream? Okay, I'm thinking something stupid like get rich. I don't know. Okay, I think something. Oh, I mean, it's not my dream, but it's like a daily dream. And okay, we spoke about a lot of problems, pressure, studying at the university, working, and it's something that a lot of students face. Especially now with social media, you feel a lot the pressure of other people having more than you or being happier, and it's kind of distorting. It's weird because you kind of misinterpret your life and what happens next to you. But everyone has his problem and so on. And I really thought in the last years, like in the last 3 years, I realized that the real richness is not to be independent, from only an economical point of view, so only from the money. So I got the money and I can do whatever you want. I can buy a car, I can rent a house, I can go and make an amazing travel. I think that my daily dream and what I tend to achieve every day is to manage my time in the way I want to manage my time. So my dream in life is to achieve this in a higher level. So already now I'm doing what I want to do. So I spend my life a little bit working, a little bit with my dogs, a little bit with my friends or relations, family, and so on. So I already do. But my dream is to daily achieve little by little, always more of this independence, to do of your time whatever you want to do. And I think that this is the best thing that one can achieve in life, even better than the money, to do something that you like and enjoy every day, every single part of the day. So to be, I'm eating, and right now I really wanted to eat, or right now I really wanted to do this interview with you. If I wouldn't, I would probably tell you, can we postpone it? Like that's a big thing because when you're younger, maybe especially if you're a woman, because women tend to feel guilty about a lot of things. we tend, for example, not to postpone appointments, not to um, postpone meetings or family dinners. I think that it's a good thing to feel really, really, and this is something that maybe I learned from yoga lessons, meditation lessons, that the best you can do of your day, I mean, people always appreciate you more if you are sincere and say, I don't feel like doing this. Can we do it tomorrow? Like, I'm tired. It's fine. And it's totally fine. And people like you when you act in this way. So, my dream in life will really be so uh, peaceful and happy with what I have, that my time is managed in the way I want it to manage. Let's say that when I will retire, I want to spend 8 hours a day feeding dogs in the streets, or if it makes me happy, I think this is the best thing that one can ask from life. Not a big house, or
I
could
understand.
be a family, could be any, but doing what you want to do, because maybe because that's something that when you're younger you cannot do because you have to stay hours and hours at school, or when you're starting working, you feel the pressure to make the boss see you every day at work and stay until 8 p.m. at work. So we really have this feeling when you free yourself from this and you say, no, I'm going to do what I want to do. You feel better, and the other perceive you better, maybe, I guess.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot thank you enough because really, what you mentioned, I tried to postpone it because I saw how busy you are, and thank you so much
No,
for
no, no, no,
giving me this
but
time.
really, if
And
if I was not in the mood to do it, I will really tell you, because now this is my philosophy in life. Like, I really think that people appreciate me more when I'm at my best, like
mm,
100% present. And this is like a yoga lesson. Like, uh, be there, do what you have to do, but be there. If I was busy, like thinking about a thousand things, I would probably speaking to you really quickly and not paying attention, or I think it's better when we are really there because we want to be there and just put our heart in what we do.
yeah,
And for some reasons, I think that, I mean, the women, we tend to feel guilty if we practice in this way.
yeah. Sometimes, yes, it's true.
Yeah, but if I don't go to that dinner, my mom will be upset. If I don't go out with my friends, they will not call me again because I say that I was busy too many times, and so they won't call me again. Or yeah, if I say to my boss that I'm not feeling to this activity, I will appear like irresponsible, or that I don't care about the job. Instead, when you are vulnerable, but at the same time show that you explain to the people around you, I cannot do this because of this reason. I'm tired. I cannot do that. I'm not available. I will do it in a bad way because I'm tired. People tend to appreciate you more.
Oh, that's so true. Thank you
Oh.
so much. Thank you for this. Thank you. Professor, I have to call it today and I have to like say goodbye as much as I love this talk.
Oh,
And I would love
me
to have
too.
I would love to have another one. But
Yeah,
I'm sure
sure.
when we publish it, there will be more requests for our interview. So please, and
Oh,
I
let's
hope
start a podcast together. Let's start something else. We can do
let's
a
do
podcast.
that. Let's go for
We
it.
can do episodes. Let's do like, or maybe we invite every week someone, and we just publish
Let's
that.
have it with your dogs around, with your cats, with my kids.
They have a lot of opinions. They have.
Anyway, thank you so much, and I really appreciate your time. You know it, and you can feel it from the way that we were communicating. I was so looking forward to this talk, and yeah, you gave it like more, even more than I thought you would give it. Thank you
No,
so much.
why? I'm so happy, it's because, it really makes me feel in another dimension. We cannot travel now, we cannot go anywhere, but, talking to you, it's like, finally, I hear someone that is not my cat, it's like, freeing myself, so I'm happy to talk to you because, the teacher is always alone with a lot of people in front of them. You're always alone, and sometimes they are tired and they just shut up for all the hour, and they are just someone, an adult talking to himself about things that he already knows. So it's like weird. But when there are these kind of activities, it's like taking you from your cave and pushing you to do better and to, it's I think it's very useful during the COVID to do this kind of activities.
Oh, thank you
Very
so
happy.
much. I appreciate it.
Me too. I'm
Thanks
happy.
so much. Let's say goodbye to our viewers and hopefully we will see them again very soon. Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you, guys.
bye.
Bye. Bye.